Hey everyone, it's Lynn. Welcome to my channel. Today I really wanted to do a cute little Valentine's Day themed makeup look. I'm going to do a super in-depth tutorial for you guys. Starting with lenses, I recently bought these from Moody. This is the Breathe+ Spotlight and they are dailies. I really like them because they make my eyes look a lot bigger. Whenever I'm doing my makeup, I kind of like looking like a fairy or like a doll almost. My skin is not the best at the moment. I definitely damaged my skin barrier by doing so many different makeup looks, but I've talked about this product before. It's from HaruHaru Wonder. This is their barrier essence and it's just a very milky toner. I like this one because it's not too thick and I feel like it hydrates my super dry skin well while also not irritating it, because I do have extremely sensitive skin and sometimes I will get hives and that's not fun. I do have a few dry patches on my face, so throughout this video you might see like my skin peeling. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna go in with this moisturizer. It is from Tatcha. I've gone through so many of these and it's just one of the best moisturizers ever. Even though it has a fragrance to it, it doesn't irritate my skin at all, which is lovely. The base makeup for today is going to be very, very hydrating because that is what I need right now. Now, because my skin is super red, I am going to go in with a green color corrector. This is one of the ones I like using. It is from Nuse. I've tried so many different products from Nuse and none of them have disappointed me yet. I'm really excited for future releases, but this one is their Care Tone Up Cream, so it does brighten the skin a little bit, but it's mainly going to cancel out the redness. Okay, so here is the difference between both sides of my face. I also like taking this a bit down my neck just so everything kind of matches a little bit better. This also has a little bit of a fragrance to it, but again, it doesn't irritate my skin at all or cause any like hives. Now dry off my brows so I can do them, but I'm gonna use the ColourPop eyebrow pencil. This is the ash brown shade. I don't do anything too crazy when it comes to brows. I kind of just fill them in. This also has a little spoolie at the end to blend everything. For foundation, I like to mix these two together, especially when my face is super dry. I'm gonna use the Glow Puff, and I'm also going to use their breathable blemish balm, and this is shade number 1. Put a little bit on the puff, not too much. And then I'm also gonna go in with the NARS light reflecting foundation. I think this shade is called Mont Blanc. If that's how you pronounce it, I don't know. I just really like mixing these two together because they're both very hydrating, especially the Glow product. And the Glow Blemish Balm also makes the skin look very healthy. And the light reflecting foundation from NARS also adds a little bit of a glow to the face, while also giving more coverage compared to this on its own. For concealer, I'm going to use this one from Danessa Myricks. And I like to just place it on like this, but I think that's enough. I'm gonna go in with a concealer brush. This one is from Morphe. If I didn't already use green color corrector, you would see how this concealer also color corrects, but I feel like you're not gonna be able to see that very well. Well, maybe on my eyelids. Let's see. I feel like you can kind of see the difference with my eyelids. So I like how this concealer kind of like makes the under eyes look really smooth. I think that's really cool. So gonna put a little bit on my nose because I feel like when I have like a concealer there, it'll make the nose contour look better. I just used shade 2, but now I'm gonna go in with shade 1. I like to just place it there. Try to blend this in place. Kind of blend here too, like down the side of the nose. Next, for nose contour, I'm gonna go in with the Kaleidos contour palette. This is the shade called Light, and I like to go in with the shade in the middle, and I don't like to do super heavy face contour. I'll just tap there and brush underneath. Just keep blending like this. But yeah, I really like the Kaleidos formula because it just blends in really easy and it's not super chalky. Before they sent this one over in PR, I actually bought myself the medium shade back when I was tanner, and I actually hit pan on that palette. For my forehead, I'm kind of just like adding some dimension in and like leaving this space blank. I'm going in with a smaller brush. I'm going to start right here and I just tap, and then I'm going to brush down the side like this. I'm kind of like going at an angle this way almost, but like not so dramatic. It's like more like that. And then for the button of my nose, it's gonna go underneath like that and like this. I'm gonna take a mini buffing brush. That's what I like to call it. Apparently it's also called a concealer brush, but I would never use this for concealer. But I'm just going to blend the contour in like this. I like to kind of like brush it up like that. Once you're done with your makeup, it adds a really cool extra dimension. Okay, I'm going back into that concealer I was using before in the shade 1. I'm gonna pick a little bit up with my finger, and I like to just tap down the center and on the button, and then I'm gonna go back in with shadow after I blend this. I'm gonna take the other side of the concealer brush just to blend it in better, back in with the contour. For me, nose contour is all about layering in order to get the exact look that you're going for. I'm gonna go back in with my concealer brush and kind of tap on the sides now, but I'm gonna go in with the Danessa Myricks loose setting powder. This is my favorite loose setting powder ever. I'm gonna put this setting powder all over my face. This is the longest lasting loose setting powder I have ever tried. Going back in with the Kaleidos palette, and now I'm going to just deepen up that nose contour, because before that's kind of like the base of the nose contour, and now I am making it more heavy, and I'm gonna leave like a little bit of like a gap right here, and then here, and tap in the product. Now we're going to move on to eye makeup, and we're going to do the YesStyle now. I'm going to use 2 different eyeshadow palettes. So I'm going to go into the Natasha Denona palette, and I'm using a very thin brush, and I'm going to go into this shade right here, and then I'm going to smile with my eyes. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to outline this part. Okay, and then I'm gonna go in with this Kylie Cosmetics palette, and I'm gonna use this shade with a flatter brush, and I'm going to use that to highlight above the shadow. And I'm gonna use a fluffy brush to kind of sweep away any excess shadow. Here is the difference between both eyes. Okay, so this is the eye primer that I've been using a lot lately. It's from Kaleidos, and I'm gonna just tap this on. If you don't have an eye primer, you can just use a concealer. I am going to be using a palette that is no longer selling. I'm sorry, if you could find a reseller, I highly recommend that you get it from a reseller, because this is one of my favorite palettes ever, from Morphe Cosmetics. It's the Constellation Sky palette with Pony. I actually grew up watching some of her videos, so she really inspired me to do makeup. I'm actually gonna go in with this light pink shade. I'll show you a little close up. It's in the middle, and I'm just going to kind of brush this all right here. I suggest just going like above where your eye naturally folds, going into this rosy pink shade, and I'm gonna start blending this on my outer corner. I like to just keep on doing little circles like this, and then I like to flick out so the eye makeup is more at like an angle. You should end up with a shadow that looks like that. With that same brush from before in the same shade, I'm going to apply a little bit of the shadow underneath right here, just on the outer corner like that. I also think that doing this step helps make the eyes look a little bit bigger, just adds a really pretty shadow. I'm going in with this brush again, but I'm gonna go into a different palette. I'm gonna use this one from Romand. It's the Berry Fuchsia Garden palette, and I'm gonna go into this shade, and I'm just gonna put this all across my lid, blending into that other color from before. And I'm not gonna blend too far up. I actually like keeping my eyeshadow like here. Makes sense? Makes sense to me. A smaller brush, and I'm going to dip into this shade, and I'm going to focus this right here and kind of like make this little line. You want to do like a little arch right here, and like stop at this point. I'm also going to take a little bit of this shade right here. It's actually a very light shade of pink is what I've noticed over time. I used to think it was like a pale white, like almost like a bone color, but it's not. It's actually pink. But I'm gonna put that over top just to brighten it a little, like literally over the shadow that we just put down. I'm gonna go into this pink shade, and I'm gonna apply this right here and blend this way using a very light hand. I'm using this maroon shade, very tiny brush, and I'm gonna make an eyeliner shape. Also, you guys will have to let me know what sorts of looks you would like tutorials for next, like specific colors or anything. You could be super specific if you want, actually, and I will try my best to make a tutorial. I'm just doing something really light like that. Going into this palette, and I'm gonna actually go in with this like plum-like shade. Just go over that eyeliner, but I'm not gonna like totally go over it, but only on this part, like really close to my lashes. I'm gonna focus a little bit of this shade on the inner corner, and I'm going to basically put it on top of my natural lower lashes, but only on the outer corner here, and then a little bit on the inner corner too. Moving on to liquid eyeliner, I really like the Flower Nose one because it has a very thin brush. I'm gonna start at my inner corner, and I'm gonna stay super close do my natural lashes. I like doing very thin wings because I find that it suits my eye shape a little bit better because I feel like my eyes are really small. So I like doing thinner wings because thicker eyeliner will make my eyes smaller. And then once you get to your outer corner, I'm going to look more straight into a mirror. I'm going to do this. Call this the baseline, and then I will go here like a little bit higher than the baseline, and I will connect everything. Now that we're here, this is the lash curler I recommend. It's from Shiseido. I really like this one because it actually fits around my eye shape. Before, with lash curlers that I had gotten from like my local grocery store, they would be too curved and they would pinch my eyes and it just would not fit. And like I hated whenever I had to have my eyelashes curled back when I did dance and I was doing like performances and stuff. Terrified of getting pinched. For mascara, I'm using the Romand one. I think this is a really good option for a mascara if you're looking for something that is super waterproof or water resistant at least. They have two different black ones available, I think. This is the long black one. I think I like the volume one better just because of the wand, but this one is still really good. Obviously I use it, but I love the way this makes my lashes look. Let me just show you the difference real quick. And for falsies today, I'm going to use my favorite style from 99 Dreams. This is the Tower Top style. They look like this. This is a newer pack. I used it the other day, but I've gone through, I think this is my fourth one. So I'm going to start with the longest one, which is a 13. Then I'm going to use a 12, an 11, a 10, and then a 9. So a total of 5 clusters. I'm going to use clear lash glue. This is the Duo Clear Lash Glue. And I'm going to put that on the back of my hand. I'm going to pick up one of the lashes, dip the band into the glue, and then I will just stick it on like so. I like looking down into a mirror. I feel like it's easier to apply. I'm gonna try to space them out in a way that makes them look more fairy-like. I'm gonna keep on going across, and then I'm also going to occasionally pinch everything together. And then I'm gonna stick the inner corner one on right there. Here's the difference between both eyes. Moving on, I like to be extra. I like painting on my face. So that's why I'm doing the little hearts today. I also thought it was fitting since Valentine's Day is right around the corner. I'm not the biggest fan of that holiday, but it's an excuse to do a cute makeup look, so I can't be too mad at the holiday. I'm going to be using water activated liner or water activated face paint. A lot of people ask me what I use to get like the super intricate looks that I typically do. It's water activated face paint, not regular paint. Don't put regular paint on your face. Please don't do that. I actually recently bought a new palette from Glisten Cosmetics and it was really cool. I got to pick out what shades I wanted in the palette and I was like, well, that's perfect. I'm gonna be using the pink shade mainly. You don't have to buy a whole water activated palette. You could just get like a single shade. Like there's a whole bunch of brands out there that do that. Also, this palette came with a brush, so that's really cool. And I got to pick out the size of the brush that I wanted. So I bought an L2. Looks like that. I'm gonna spray a little bit of water into it. I like to kind of go and twist on my hand like this just to make sure there's no like bumps when I'm painting. I'm gonna make like a tiny pink heart. Just making a little line right here. I feel like hearts are really easy to do because you kind of just have to go and make like a little V. I'm gonna go in with a different water activated palette. This is actually the one I used to recommend all the time, but I don't anymore because I think this brand closed down, but it's Hex Baby Beauty. Very much loved these two reds together. And then I'm going to paint another heart. This time I think I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. The reason why I really like nail art brushes when doing this, or just very thin brushes like the one from Glisten Cosmetics, is because you can be very, very precise and you have a lot of control over the brush. Anything that is thicker will be a little bit difficult to use. And the paints dry down pretty quickly, I think. And then I'm also gonna go ahead and paint a couple of hearts over here too. Whenever I'm doing eye looks like this, I don't like doing the same exact thing on the other eye. I like to make it a little bit different. That way I'm not stressed to make it look exactly alike. Wiping it away, redoing it, wiping it away, redoing it. Like, it's a lot easier when you do something a little bit different on both eyes. Instead of doing a bigger red heart and a smaller pink heart, I'm gonna do the opposite on the other eye. Hearts aren't super time consuming to do, which is great. Moving on to eye glitter, I'm going to be using this one from Glow. It is one of my favorite shades from them. I have bought 4 of these. Easily one of my favorite glitters of all time, and I think it might be the best glitter I've ever tried. It is like a pinkish purple shade, so I feel like it fits the eye look really well. So I have this like space right here, and I'm just tapping this on to that space, basically on top of my lashes. And then I'm gonna take a little bit on the back of my hand like this, and I'm gonna use a Q-tip and kind of like dip into it, and I'm going to tap across the light pink eyeshadow. I like how this glitter has tiny particles and also like the chunkier parts too. I just feel like it adds so much to a look. Like that is just so pretty. I'm gonna add a little bit of extra highlight to the eyes, and I'm using a shade that looks like this, like a pearly like shade, and I'm gonna use a thin brush and make a little highlight line connecting to the glitter. I like using brushes so I can be more precise, because whenever I use my finger, it's like too much highlight. Okay, for blush today, I'm going to use the Nuse ones. These are their Mousse Care Cheeks. I'm gonna start with the darker shade, which is Crema Mauve. I like when my blush is really close to my under eye area. I think it helps to shorten my face. It looks cuter in my opinion. But seriously, this is my favorite blush of all time. And I've tried over 50 blushes, so I feel like that's saying a lot. But this is a semi-matte formula, so it kind of goes on glowy like this, but it dries down to a semi-matte finish that's very pretty. And it also makes the skin look a little bit smoother as well. Then I'm going to use the Taro Mousse shade, and I'm going to focus that closer to my nose. I'm going to go back in with the Danessa Myricks concealer because I want everything really nice and blended together. I'm going to add another blush. This is the Purple Flame shade. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I love purple blushes. I just think they look so good. This formula is super glowy, so I'm only going to put a little bit on. And then moving on to face powders, I'm gonna use the Kosas one. This is the Breezy shade, and I'm gonna just go over my under eyes. And I'm going to go around the blush. I'm not gonna go directly on top of it. But yeah, I love the Kosas formula. My one complaint is the packaging. It always breaks. I think this is like my 3rd one. And then I'm going to be using the Flower Nose brightening powder, and I'm using the soft lavender shade, and I'm gonna put that on top of the Kosas one, but really focusing it underneath the eyes. Going in with a powder blush from ColourPop. It's like a mauve color, and take a little bit and focus it right here. Tap a little bit on both sides, a little bit on the nose, and here as well. And then just blend everything together. And then for highlighter, it absolutely has to be this one. It can't be any other highlighter. You have to use this one. I'm just kidding. You could use what you want, but I bought this off of YesStyle, I think last year, and I use it a lot. It just doesn't look super used, I guess, because I don't like pick up the product from the snowflake because I don't want to mess it up. I like to basically pick it up from the corner. And this is a really pretty light purple pink type of shade, but I'm gonna focus that right here. But yeah, I've gotten a lot of questions about this highlighter because when I wear it, I do get like a couple of questions that are like, hey girl, what is that highlighter? It looks so pretty. It's this, but it's the Violet Ruby shade. I'm basically just putting it in like a circle-like shape on the outermost part. And then I'm gonna add a little bit to the button of my nose and a little bit here as well. It just leaves the prettiest glow on the face. Makeup has been building up on the corners of my mouth for like this entire video, so that's fun. I'm going to just clean off everything. I'm gonna be using this lip pencil from Moment. It is 05 Taupey shade, and I like using this to mute out the natural color of my lips. If I use foundation over top, it'll just make my lip products separate really weird. So I like just using this because then my lip products don't separate all weird. Okay, now that I look kind of crazy, I'm gonna use this gloss from Moment. It is the Lasting Color Gloss in the dim mauve shade, and I'm just gonna go over, and then I'm gonna mix a little bit of this other shade called Rose Finch. This one's more of a pink. I feel like the other shade is more purple-like. Anyway, I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Let me know what I should do next. But anyway, I love you guys so much. I will see you guys next time. Bye.